Good morning, everybody. I want to bring to you another book review in my series of book reviews, and today I want to bring a book review of a particular translation of the Bible which I've had for a very long time. You can see it's beginning to just about lose its cover a little bit now. I've had this since I was a very young man. It's got all of my previous addresses in the cover. It's called, let me read it from the first page, it's called the Interlinear Greek-English New Testament. The Interlinear Greek-English New Testament. It's the Nestle Greek text of the literal English with a literal English translation by the Reverend Alfred Marshall and the Reverend Penventry J.B. Phillips, also with a marginal text of the authorized version of the King James Bible, 2nd edition, produced by Samuel Baxter and Sons Limited, 72 Marylebone Lane, London, W1. Now, the literal English translation by Samuel Baxter and Sons was first printed in 1958. I was 2 then. And the editorial interlineation by Samuel Baxter was also in the same year. So it's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 printings up to 1972. So this particular copy was produced in 1972. Now there's 2 forewords, a foreword by J.B. Phillips and an introduction by Alfred Marshall. Now, I don't want to go into much about what they say because it's very technical details of translation according to Greek scholars. Now, I wouldn't class myself very much as a Greek scholar, but I have over the years used this particular translation of the Bible. I'm going to show you what it looks like very close up. Can you see that? Okay, so what you have there is you have on the left hand side you have the authorized version, the King James version as the Americans like to call it, and on the right hand side we have the Greek text in lowercase, and underneath the Greek text we have a literal translation of what the Greek words mean. Now, you may not realize this, but the order of the words in the Greek sentences is different to the way in which we put our words in English. That's very common for a number of languages when we're listening to a different language to realize that they turn the order of the sentences around and they're presented in a different order. Now, so what we have to do here, we have to read it. We can read it in the English if we wish. But when we read it, we will discover that the words are not necessarily in an order that we're familiar with in English. And so sometimes what the translators will do is they will put some numbers by the side of the word. Let me give you an example of this. This is in Matthew chapter 23, verse 24. It says, "Leaders blind, the ones straining the gnat, but the camel swallowing." Okay, now that obviously isn't in our normal English order of words. So what they've kindly done is put little numbers in, and I'll read it with the correct numbers in order. It says, "Leaders blind, the one straining the gnat, but swallowing the camel." Now immediately we can begin to see what is actually going on. It's also very interesting. Now, having a little book like this in front of you, having an interlinear Greek-English New Testament in front of you, doesn't make you a Greek scholar. Far from it. And it's very easy to make big mistakes by having a little knowledge. You know what they say, a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Well, not understanding correctly is actually where a great deal of mistakes occur. A dear brother recently was pointing out to me that the church met, he says, on the Sabbath day, and I went, don't think so. He says they met on the first day of the week. Now that little word week, it's not the normal word for Sabbath, it is the word Sabbaton. Now Sabbaton, it means weeks, plural. And so what the writer is saying is, sometimes the Jews used the word Sabbath and attached it to the word and used it in a plural sense to refer to weeks which ended with a Sabbath. But when the writer's talking, it says that they met together on the first day of the Sabbaton, the first day of the week which would end with a Sabbath. You see the point? And so the translators, all the translators of the Bible, have translated it correctly and have said that the church met on the first day of the week. Okay? If you wanted to be picky, you could say that they met on the first day of the week which ended on the Sabbath. That's what you could say. But the important thing is that the church met on the first day of the week. So having a little bit of knowledge sometimes can lead us astray. We need to just make sure that when we're reading it, we can read it correctly. And of course we have all the aids and all the helps to understand. Now I've reached the point in my understanding of Greek in which I'm able to sit here and basically read it off. That doesn't mean to say that I understand all the words. Most of the time, I might say, most of the time the English reader of the Greek will have a bit of a clue as to how the Greek words are used. So anthropos, it's the study of man, isn't it? Anthropology. So whenever you see the word anthropos or anthropon, it's always the word man. It's always man. Theo, if you see the word theo, then it's always going to be God. Christ is Christo. Jesus is Isio. Judah is Judea. So a lot of the words that if we see the word brotherly love, it'll be Philadelphia. Okay, Philadelphia. A lot of the words which we are familiar in English have been borrowed from the Greek language. So for example, when you read the word Pharisaioi, it's referring to the Pharisees. If we read the word hypocritai, it means it's a hypocrite. You see the point? So a lot of the time we'll find that we will be able to understand the Greek. The words that we won't understand, funnily enough, are things like and but and the and tomorrow, all the littler words, to and from and exit and entrance. Those are the words that we'll struggle over because they appear to have no relation to English. But a lot of the other words we will find are related to English. So for example, here I'm just casting my eye down, I see the word kuminon. Well, it's the word for cumin, you know, the herb cumin. So kuminon is cumin. And so yeah, so being able to read the Greek and being able to understand actually that the English translation is actually a translation and that the Greek is actually what was originally written. That's a very, very, very important point for all Christians to come to terms with. And that doesn't mean to say that we can all become completely familiar with the Greek. It just means that we can become a little bit familiar enough to be able to read it and to recognize certain words. So having one of these was a thing that completely opened my mind and helped me to understand that actually the Bible wasn't written in English originally. It wasn't written in old-fashioned English either. It was written in Greek. Parts of it, I think, were written originally in Hebrew and then translated into Greek. But the main thing is that we can then become a little bit closer to what was originally said. That's the particular point of a book like this. So like I said, I've had it pretty well all my life. I'm just about beginning to see that the cover's coming off, and maybe one day in the future. I have a habit when I was a young man of marking my Bibles, writing and putting notes in the margins. I haven't done this to any of this. The print is a little bit small, and therefore any marks on the page would very much distract from what I'm reading, so I've kept it completely clear. There are marginal references occasionally. For example, it says here in Acts chapter 24, it says verse 7 is omitted by the Revised Version. There we are. So that's interesting, isn't it? So things like that are absolutely fascinating, and so this is a book which I refer to, a Bible that I refer to all the time. When I want to ascertain the exact meaning of a particular Greek word, I will always go to my Nestle's Interlinear New Testament, and like I said, it's been at my side as a faithful book for a very, very long time. I commend it to you. Get hold of one of them and begin to have a look at what we think was originally written. That's the important thing. Well, God bless you. I look forward to speaking to you next Sunday, and have a good day. Bye for now.